Hello students, I am Dr. Barkha Srivastav, Head Department of Chemistry. So welcome to Engineering Chemistry Lab. Today we are going to perform the first experiment of your Engineering Chemistry Lab. So the object is to determine the hardness of water by EDTA method. So we are going to determine the hardness of the given sample of water. We will determine total, temporary as well as the permanent hardness. So first of all we will discuss what is hardness. If the calcium and magnesium salts are present in the water, then these are considered as the hardness causing salts. So this water will not produce lather with the soap solution. The water is known as the hard water. We have to remove this hardness, but before removing this hardness, we should know what is the amount of hardness, what is the degree of hardness. So that we are going to determine in this lab today. So this is the EDTA method. We have already drawn the observation table. We have the calculation part. So we will perform the calculation after performing the experiment. So now we are going to perform the experiment. So this is our setup for determination of hardness. So we have the different chemicals used for this experiment. This is the burette and we have the different samples. So first of all, we will discuss what are the chemicals required for the experiment. So these are the standard hard water solution, that is a reference water solution, the EDTA solution, the indicator, that is EBT, the boiled water sample, and especially a buffer solution which is required for the reaction. So this reaction is possible only 9 to 10 pH. So we will maintain that pH using this buffer solution. So first of all, we will pipette out 10 ml of standard hard water solution. So we have this standard hard water solution. So 10 ml of a standard hard water solution we have to pipette out with the help of this pipette. It's a pipette of 10 ml. So I am pipette outing 10 ml of solution. So this 10 ml of solution I have already pipette out in the conical flask. So we have this flask in which we have taken 10 ml of standard hard water solution. Now we have to add 2 ml of buffer solution. So this is buffer solution and we have to add this buffer solution through the measuring cylinder. Exactly 2 ml of buffer solution may be added. So I am adding 2 ml of buffer solution. After addition of this buffer solution, we have to add indicator. Indicator is nothing but the aerochrome black tea, EBT. So 2 drops of EBT I am adding. See the color change in the conical flask. Now we have a wine red color. This wine red color is due to the formation of an unstable complex between the calcium magnesium ions and the EBT. So we have to titrate this mixture with EDTA. In this burette we have taken the EDTA solution and now I am going to titrate it with the EDTA solution. So we will start adding the solution from the burette drop by drop. Slowly we have to add this solution by shaking. Continuously we are adding this solution. In the starting we can add directly or at a speed or high speed, but then we'll add slowly drop wise and notice the color change. I have added 4 to 5 ml, but the color is still wine red color. So you can see the wine red color is still there. I am again titrating. So we have to shake it, mix it thoroughly, continuously. We are waiting for the color change. We know that. What is the color change? I think the color is coming to come, or we have this end point. So the wine red color changes into a different blue color. So it's written as blue color, but clearly see the color for the exact end point. So at end point the wine red color changes into the blue color. So we have to repeat this titration until we got the concordant reading. So what is concordant reading? Two continuous or consecutive same readings are known as concordant reading. So we have to note down the reading. So suppose this reading comes 9.2 first time. So we have to note down 9.2 ml the burette reading. And then next we have to repeat the process until we get the concordant reading. So we'll note down all the readings in our notebook. Then we have to perform the same experiment with the given sample of water. The second sample of water is the tap water, for which we want to determine the hardness of water sample. Then next is the boiled water sample. We'll repeat the process with the third sample, that is the boiled water sample. And same as we have done for the first experiment or first titration, we will note down all the readings. Now we will perform the calculation part using these readings which we have already noted in our notebook. So we have already drawn an observation table. This is for sample 1, 2, 3. Sample 1 was standard hard water, then 2 was the tap water for which we want to determine the hardness, and number 3 was the boiled water sample. So as we have already noted down, the first reading was 9.2, then 9.0, 9.0. We have written only 3 readings, but you may take number of reading to got this concordant reading. So the concordant reading, two continuous same readings are known as concordant reading. So it comes 9.0 for standard water sample or first sample. So we have noted down the V1 as 9.0 ml. Then we have to perform the titration with the second sample. So for second sample, suppose the concordant reading comes 1.8 ml. Then for third, which is the boiled water sample, it comes 0.9 ml. Now we have to determine the total hardness, permanent hardness and the temporary hardness. So total hardness can be determined by dividing this V2 divided by V1 into 1000 ppm. So we have V2 as 1.8 ml divided by 9.0 ml into 1000, it comes 200 ppm. So our total hardness is 200 ppm. And this is the permanent hardness, V3 divided by V1 into 1000 ppm, 0.9 divided by 9.0, so it comes 0.1 into 1000, so it comes 100 ppm. And then the temporary hardness can be determined by subtracting permanent hardness from the total hardness. So 200 minus 100, it comes 100. So now we have 3 types of hardnesses as 200, 100 and 100. As we know that the hardness is an important property for drinking water. If the hardness exceeds from 500 ppm, then the water will not be fit for drinking purpose. If we want to drink this water, so it should be less than 500 ppm. So on the basis of our outcome, we can say that this water is safe for drinking purpose. Thank you.